Going to jump in here, Mark. We have a number of comments coming in here in the Voice of College Football. People saying, Stanford's, this is a David Shaw team. Stanford's going to pound the rock between the tackles. That might very well be true. We're just passing along. We're just reiterating what Stanford's play-by-play guy said, that Tanner McKee, the very talented quarterback for Stanford, let's realize that Stanford sent Davis Mills to the NFL, did reasonably well with the Texans, didn't get a lot of help elsewhere on the roster, but he showed at times he can really play. And so Tanner McKee is now following in Davis Mills' footsteps, very talented, has a lot of upside. And so the thought from the Stanford camp, and we're just relaying this, from the Stanford camp, the belief is that with USC having the untested secondary, especially the safeties, that Tanner McKee can attack that USC defense vertically, especially in the middle third of the field, and have a lot of success. Now, my personal read on this, I think that David Shaw probably will throw on first down early in the game, and he will see what he can achieve down the field. And if he does hit a few of those home runs early in the game, the first 15, 20 minutes, well, he's going to keep going there. And then once Stanford gets a lead, if it gets like a 10-point advantage, then you'll see Stanford try to pound the rock and drain the clock in the second half so that Caleb Williams can't mount a comeback. So I don't know if Stanford is just going to turn into like an air raid north. Maybe not that much, but I do think that Stanford, I agree with Scott Rice, the Stanford play-by-play man, that David Shaw is definitely going to have Tanner McKee take some shots vertically early in that game. He's going to want to poke that pressure point, see how vulnerable it is. If Stanford's not doing that, like that would be an irresponsible game plan by the Cardinal. But I think you'll see the run mixed in, but I do think you'll see Stanford try to take some shots vertically, see if they can get an early advantage, get USC on the back foot, force the Trojans to panic. Maybe Caleb Williams will force the issue a little bit, try to be a hero instead of being patient. Like that is obviously the template for Stanford. Get the early lead with the big play, then mix in the running game and the smash mouth style that we know David Shaw can implement. That's going to be, I think, the general outline of Stanford's plan. We'll obviously see if it works or not, but that's going to be the plan.
And I got to think that unless we've got Pac-12 diehards in here, there hasn't been a whole lot of Stanford football watched over the last few years. I watch as much college football as I possibly can between noon and about 2 a.m. every Saturday. And Stanford used to be a go-to about 5 years ago, but over the last 3 or 4 years, this is not Bryce Love and Christian McCaffrey Stanford teams that are churning out 2,000-yard seasons by an individual player, 2,500 to 3,500 yards rushing. Austin Jones led them in rushing with 378 yards. Well, he had the most carries. Nathaniel Pete at 404. The guy that they gave the most carries to last year, Austin Jones, averaged 3.5 yards per carry. If your understanding of what stats mean in college football, that's an abysmal rushing average. So they didn't move it well on the ground last year.
They didn't, and a big part of that, and I know it's kind of surprising we're talking so much about Stanford, but like we got several comments coming in about the USC Stanford game, so that's what we're responding to. But Stanford's offensive line got more torn up by injuries as the season went on, and the other thing is that defense, the Stanford defense, was wafer thin. So you saw teams such as Utah. I remember Utah delivered a holy beatdown of Stanford in a Friday night game. That game went off the rails pretty quickly. So you saw Stanford falling behind early, and that also limited Austin Jones' touches, the level of impact that he was able to have on games.